This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
You're listening to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while dissecting nudes again and dying over the audacity of this knife play. Hey HBs, we're so excited you're back for part 2 of this recap. If you haven't heard part 1, make sure to pause this and listen to yesterday's episode first. Right now, I get to shout out another group of absolutely amazing patrons. We're so thankful for your support. Sarah T, Jennifer K, Laura G, Marike G, and Shelby D. Now, we're going to dig into part 2 of this stalker rom-com. When we left off yesterday, our heroine had decided to do some revenge exhibitionism, and we were just about to get to the subsequent titty fucking. I know, we're so mean, but that's where we're jumping in. Here we go.
Okay, I bounced on the bed and then he was on me, swinging a leg over my waist as he pulled his shirt off. He yanked me up by my arms, shoved the shirt under my head and neck, and then tugged his zipper down, freeing his cock.
Yeah.
I reached for it hungrily, but he pushed my hands aside and grabbed the lube I'd left discarded on my comforter. A splash of it landed in the middle of my chest. All the warning I had before he grabbed my hands and put them on my breasts. Press them together, he ordered. I'm so sorry, listener. I'm not gonna be able to do the gravelly thing that Mel just did. You're just gonna have to
together, he ordered.
I was prepared for it that time.
Yeah.
Press them together, he ordered. Your first present is that necklace you've been begging me to get you.
Yeah, in those comments.
The dirty talk in this book was delightful.
Fantastic.
And she says, I see you've been reading my comments. I love that they laugh together. They are constantly making each other laugh. And he laughs. And then she is like,
he comes like a freight train. And then she's like, oh, it's my turn, basically. And he does this evil laugh. And she thinks it's the voice modulator until we zippy zap to several minutes later. And he has been edging her into oblivion. And she's so mad.
He has her like on her stomach, like over his lap practically, and like shouldered to the bed so she can't move. And she's like, it's been 10 fucking minutes. And he has just been
relentlessly.
I thought that edging always sounded fun, but now that I'm experiencing it, fuck him.
Yeah.
But then also at the same time, she's like, I get it though.
But yeah,
I'm so angry about this. But like now that I've come,
I did come the hardest
again
I've ever come in my whole life. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I love this because in her inner monologue, one of the things she's pissed about is that he's fucking her with her vibrator and not with his dick. And this was one thing I loved about this book, because Josh very, very specifically holds off on doing like penis in vagina insertion, nothing more than like blowjobs or whatever, until she knows not only who he is, but like where he comes from, his backstory. She needs to know about the serial killer and all that bullshit before it, cause like and it makes sense, because in his mind, like, can you really consent without that information? You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, that makes sense to me. So anyway, and but she's so mad about it the whole time. She just wants him to rail her.
After she is fully noodled on the bed, he goes in the kitchen to make her breakfast, and he's gagging because he's making bacon. And content warning, accidental cannibalism, because it turns out that his dad, when they were kids, decided to get rid of one of the bodies by mixing it into the meat and then throwing a 4th of July cookout. And he hasn't eaten meat since finding that out.
He's a vegan now. And
which,
later on, she's going to ask...
If there's a reason to be vegan...
I mean, I can't think of a better one.
I can't think of a more personal...
Yeah.
Intently, like...
Well, and later on, she's talking to Tyler because they've been friends, like, their whole lives, and she's like, why do you eat meat? And he's like, nah, I ate a hot dog that day. I didn't eat the hamburger.
She's like, you still smelled it? And he was like, there's a difference between that.
You know.
But also, like, I think I'm Tyler.
Yeah, me too. Yep. I think I'm definitely Tyler.
I'm not gonna say that I'd be okay with accidental cannibalism, but, like, I also don't know that I
wouldn't be.
Never eat meat again.
Yeah.
Because of that. I think it would specifically be, I need to know exactly where this meat came from. I need to have witnessed you slaughter the animal. Or it needs to be unrecognizable. It, like, recognizably not human. Like...
Oh, you mean future eating sessions of meats?
Yes.
Like, you need to,
I need to know,
you need to know the providence of each steak.
Exactly. Like, I had ground meat? Abso-fucking-lutely not. I better see every single piece that got cut and put it anyway. So he makes, oh my god, him and Fred, though, he is so fucking funny with this cat, because he makes the food, and then he gets back to the he gives Fred a little bite of bacon, and then he goes to do... Did I say
Providence? I'm sorry, everyone. I meant Provenance. I knew it felt bad. And I don't know that I did say Providence.
You did, because I clocked it, but I was also just going to walk past because I couldn't remember the right word either.
We can't walk past stuff like that. It's Provenance. So sorry. So sorry.
No,
okay, now we can move on.
Mel, I need you to stop apologizing for things that you're not actually sorry for.
I don't like interrupting you.
That is
you know
deeply disingenuous of you. Okay?
Fair enough.
So he gets back to the kitchen, though, and he's like, I could have sworn that I made 3 pieces of bacon, and there's only 2 there. And then he hears crunching, and he sees Fred underneath the table with a squirrely look in his eyes, just like, like snarfing it as fast as he
lion with his kill.
And he says, you sneaky little beast, I said, ducking down to pluck it away from him. And then he thinks, I don't think that mommy would be too happy with daddy if she woke up to her house covered in explosive cat diarrhea. And I swoon, because that's very cute. And then
he walks in and she's like, what did Fred do?
Our angel baby did absolutely nothing, and I resent the insinuation that he ever could.
Mm-hmm.
He is already referring to Fred as their child.
Yep.
It's like... He's already made that comment that Mel acted out, and like he is fully set that this is mommy, daddy, and baby. This is a little family.
Yeah. Well, and so meanwhile, she has picked up a tracker, and while he was making breakfast, he's also, what a fucking weirdo. while he's making breakfast 1 room away, he's also just simultaneously still watching her on his tablet. And he sees that she places a tracker in her backpack. And he's like, oh, look at this. Look at this minx trying to get me.
I will say, I'm not on his level. I'm not even close to his level as far as that kind of stuff is concerned and tracking and all of that jazz. But I will say, I have started setting up security around my home and things like that. And I do have internal cameras now. And if you think that if I had a partner in my house, I would not be constantly watching them on it.
Checking in. Yeah.
Just looking in the weirdest, creepiest little way possible. I would get their consent beforehand. You know, I'd be like, just a heads up. If you're not comfortable with it, that's fine. But also, like, if you don't care, I am just going to randomly be stalking you on here.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Just so you know. And
Fair
so,
enough.
like, you're like, this little creepy little shit. Same.
No, I know, but it's so funny to me, especially since, like, he's still wearing a mask. He still has a voice modulator on. Like, none of that is gone.
I think the craziest thing to me is that she didn't assume he was watching. Because she literally thinks in her head, she's like, he's in the other room. There's no way he has this video up right now. And I was like, oh.
I mean,
What?
I would assume that, like, you've seen me 30 seconds ago. Like, you put me in the shower that I was just in. I wouldn't see a reason for somebody to be watching me.
Absolutely not.
And it's my mistake.
What if you lay back on that bed and start diddling? I'm dropping this bacon. The cat's gonna have shit everywhere. Because I'm coming in that room and I'm taking over. Like, or I'm just gonna stand here and watch, you know? But like...
Fair. Anyway, so he sees her put the tracker in, and then he finally, like, says goodbye. And God, they don't want him to leave. He's like, go to sleep and, you know, get some rest. And
she's
make
like,
sure,
but that dick though. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
No,
She's like, I want to stomp my foot and be like, you should stay and rail me. It's very funny.
Like, I felt
very
seen.
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't. Oh my god, that reminds me. I'm reading the fucking 3rd Duskwalker book right now. And she literally has this moment where she's like, God damn it, he left and he didn't even give me his dick like I told him to. And he's like, I would literally rip you in half. And she's like, well, then I'm ripped in half.
Yeah, I gotta figure. Meanwhile, he's leaving so he can figure out how to give her that dick. Oh my god. Anyway, so then as he's driving, he's like cackling maniacally because he's like, this is going to be my best prank ever. So he's got the feed up and he sees her watching her feed of the tracker. It's one of those where you like constantly watch it and like the blue line is behind it. And so he starts making turns and going down streets and like making more turns and everything. And then she's like,
what is he doing?
What is he doing? And then by the end of it, she's like, LOL?
No, she specifically at the end, she's like, don't you dare. She starts to realize what's happening. She's like, don't you make that. And he's cackling in his car because he is delighted.
He's so funny.
And she's like, don't you make that left turn.
Don't you.
God, he made that left turn.
Because he spelled out LOL on the city grid. Oh, it's the best. So, yeah. So she's fucking mad. And then he, drops the tracker out, and it's hilarious.
He messages her. He's like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how mad are you about the tracker? 1 being you need a day or 2 to cool off, and 10 being we need to start drafting a joint custody agreement for Fred. And she just immediately starts laughing.
Yeah.
Aww.
And she says, like, I'm at a 3. I need a couple of days to, like, you know, figure my shit out and, like, figure out my new next plan of attack. But then she thinks to herself, that's not true. I need to figure out how to stop these feelings that feel inevitable, you know? These feelings that are just coming on so fast and I don't know what to do with them. So he's like, okay, oh my God, do you have this part up? Because he says, okay, I'll give you a couple of days. I'll give you 2 days. What does it say? Read it to them.
I don't have his point of view.
What?
But
basically,
I don't have his point of view. He's like, that's fine. I'll give you a couple of days, basically. But if I don't hear from you in a couple of days, I'm coming for you.
Yeah. He says, but I'm not willing to give you any more than that. And so I just need you to know that I'm coming for you, baby. And she's like, "Blah!"
She's ignoring him. Okay. And then it's a couple hours. It's like she's at work and
it's the next day.
Yeah. And
because he did manage to go one day without texting her, and all of us were proud of him.
And she's watching his latest video. Several hours later, I watched his latest video. It was darker than his...
Wait, before you read that, I want to do a little bit of setup for it, because we forgot to tell them that, like, while they were texting back and forth about, like, needing some time and all of that, she was like, I'm trying to protect myself because I don't know if this is... Oh, tell them.
Mm-hmm. Lie. What I really needed was time to talk myself out of the feelings I was starting to develop for this man. A kinky hookup? Fine. That was allowed. We all had one-night stands with strangers, but to want more from the man who had A, broken into my house, B, broken into my car, and C, was actively stalking me had to be the height of stupidity. Only I didn't feel like an idiot. I felt right. He'd had countless opportunities to harm me, and he hadn't. All he'd done so far was make my life better. Food, shoveling, rides home when I was too tired to drive, security updates, the best orgasm of my life. Sure, he drove me up a wall half the time and couldn't cook for shit. The bacon was still raw in the middle, and I stopped eating the eggs after picking the third piece of shell out of my mouth. But no man was perfect.
Yeah. And so she's like, I'm wondering if this is just like a kink for you. It's just like a kink moment for you. Mm-hmm. And he says, it's not, Allie. I promise. Like, watch my next video.
She says she's not. She says she's not going to. And then, listener,
please.
Several hours later, my hope went up in flames as I watched his latest video. It was darker than his others, not just in lighting, but tone, with lyricless, haunting music playing in the background. He was shirtless in it, and the video opened with him grabbing the phone like he just grabbed his hand around someone's throat. My throat. Mm-hmm. Before a pan transition revealed him rising over the screen, one hand braced somewhere overhead, his dark jeans unbuttoned as he reached into them like he was getting ready to pull out his dick and fuck it straight into my tits again. Woo! The camera panned once more, showing him laying on his side, one hand propping his head up, the other disappearing off-screen, forearm flexing deliciously as he pumped his arm like he was fucking that vibrator into me again. This was the most overtly sexual video he'd ever posted, and watching him recreate what we'd done this morning made me fucking desperate for round 2. What a devious bastard. Sure, take your time, Allie, but I'm going to torture you with my absence until you come to your senses. It made me want to be bratty. It made me want to hold out until his patience snapped and he hunted me down. Oh, that sounded like a good plan. Yeah, I was definitely going to do that. And then the caption, listener, was Mommy and Daddy time.
Yeah.
By the way, the comment section goes apeshit over it.
Yeah. I think we might have messed up. I might have messed up when the angry thing happens. Maybe it wasn't this time.
The angry thing?
Because, well... I know
what you're talking about
time.
because there's this one, but the sad one comes in. It's next. It's in a couple of days.
I just don't remember why she's mad at him at that point. I thought she was mad at him because of the
so she needs a little bit of time because she's not actually mad about the tracker. So basically what happens is she's trying to figure out like what she's doing and like what she's going to do. Like, I'm not looking for anything serious, but also like he feels so right and I'm into him like real bad.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
And then he does show up with his modulator again. And there's sexy times. This is the knife. Because he shows up to her house. And he comes in, and I don't remember exactly how it happens, but all I know is this is the next quote that I have. "You're soaked, baby. His words warm against my skin. You should see the way you glisten. I felt the soft brush of a kiss against my upper thigh and nearly moaned. I thought I'd need to work you up to take the knife, but you got there on your own." And because she's been so horny since that video that she's like raring to go. She is.
Well, and to be clear for listener, what happens is she is on her bed, I think either masturbating or just like waiting for him for sexy times. And he comes through the door with the knife up as if he's going to recreate the Norman Bates scene, you know? And then he swings the knife down and penetrates her mattress.
The corner of her mattress.
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, that was so scary, but it was also so hot, but also my mattress." And then he says, "Your new mattress arrives tomorrow." And she's like, "What?" He goes, "Well, I can't fit in this one. It's not big enough. So I got you a California King with the same, whole setup, same mattress, everything. It arrives tomorrow." Mm-hmm. And so she, we missed, I don't know what we missed. I think we might have we missed a video, because the one really important one is when he says, like, when she's mad at you. And it's a whole, 80s hairband.
Oh, my God. Mel, listener, I am so sorry. We did you so dirty. Okay, so after oh, my God, we're not even at the knife yet. We're going to have to revisit the knife because it's hot. I know. And we're not there yet. Okay. Because that's literally the thing that when I was on the phone with Mel, I was like, the knife.
She couldn't hold it back.
So it's after she finds all of the, the tracker the camera.
When she finds the camera. Yeah, he gives her the device to find the camera. And then she's like, "Wait a minute, did you watch me masturbate?" And he was like, "No, I didn't. Believe me." And she's like, "Why should I believe you?" And he's like, "You shouldn't. But I really didn't. I'm not that morally bankrupt." Uh-huh. And so then she's like, she's so mad.
Uh-huh. And so she's looking through her thing and she's like, "Man, I really need to damn it, I know he has a video out, but and I shouldn't watch it." And my gaze refocused on my phone. "Don't do it," I told myself. And then she says to herself, "You are a weak woman," I said as I opened the app and navigated to his profile. Sure enough, there was a new video. Listener, I need you. This man is so dramatic. Okay?
So dramatic.
And so fucking funny. Because in this video, a heartbeat later, a low drugging melody came from my phone speakers. Mm-hmm. The faceless man was back in one of his usual filming locations, and I let out a heavy breath of relief that it wasn't more content from my bedroom. He lay on his couch, clad in a black Henley with the sleeves pushed to his elbows, revealing tattoos and the corded, veiny forearms I obsessed over. Like usual, he held a knife, toying with it as he stared up at the ceiling while a tortured male voice sang about getting his heart broken. The scene changed, showing him sitting up in bed against a heavy-duty headboard that looked made to take a pounding. It spoke of vigorous athletic sex, complete with what looked like hook holes designed to tie people to it. He was shirtless now, big body leaning against his pillows, head turned to the side like he was staring into space. The scene changed again to a locale I'd never seen before. He stood in front of a large picture window, still shirtless, his arms lifted overhead as he leaned against the top part of the frame. I hit pause, blah, 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 and then right until I glanced down and noticed that he'd added a caption to one of his videos for the first time ever. It read, "When she's mad at you." Oh, hell no. This motherfucker better not have been talking about me. And then she goes and, like, watches it, and this is his version. She's like, is this his version of saying sorry? Meanwhile, the comment section is going ape ballistic shit. They're like, they're like, my God, who hurt you? Give me your name and address, and I'll take care of it. And, like, ladies, we ride at dawn over gophers. And, like, they don't,
and then
they don't say the gopher thing.
She comments, when she's right to be mad at you or something like that. When she has a reason to be mad at you, you mean. And then he likes it for the first time. He's never liked a comment. And then she's the one person that he's following. His account is following. Everybody goes bananas.
Blows up.
Yeah. There are follow requests all over the place. They're threatening her. They're like, how could you hurt this perfect man? Are you dating him? What's he like in real life?
Also, hilariously, the reason that I missed this in my notes and my quotes is because the only quote that I have from this chapter, I just went digging through it, is this quote, because I've never felt more seen in my life. The second video was of my weird neighbor Steve from down the street who ran late at night, even in winter. He was an ultra-marathoner and competed in one of the most extreme environments on the planet, and the harsher the conditions, the better, according to him. I knew far too much about the man because he was also chatty as fuck, and he cornered me and talked blah blah blah. I'd avoided him ever since. His intensity was unnerving. And that's the only quote from that chapter. None of the video. It's about
her surveillance. Yeah, it's about her surveillance system.
But it just made me laugh because I was like, God, me too, though. I've had neighbors where if I know that they're outside, I'm not going outside because, like, I will end up sucked into a conversation and it's just too much. That person is too much. It's just so funny. But yeah, I didn't.
Sorry. So this is when he's like, he does the when she's mad at you video, and then in order to make up for that, the ride home is part of it. Then he, like, shovels out her driveway. He makes her breakfast. He brings her more food later on. Like, he makes her life a lot better by stocking her house and shoveling her place and, doing all the business. And so, meanwhile, he's, like, turning off her cameras every time he goes outside to do something for her.
Yes. There's also this quote from her. This is after the fact, while she's still kind of stewing, trying to figure out where she is, where she thinks to herself, sometime in the past year or two, I'd waded into darkness, and now I was swan diving into the deep end. I was a sex-craved, sleep-deprived woman more interested in a kinky fuck than safety and comfort. It was oddly freeing to admit that. Now that I'd stopped fighting myself, I could look back at the past few days and see what I'd been trying to ignore. I wanted this.
Yeah.
I'd been lonely as hell my entire adult life. The men I met on dating apps or social media didn't seem to mind when I flaked on them or forgot to text them back for weeks on end. They just moved on to someone else, like Tyler had. My entire life was devoted to caring for others. I wanted someone to take care of me for once. I wanted someone to want me. No, need me. I wanted a man so obsessed that he hacked into cameras to watch me when he couldn't sleep. I wanted him to monitor my location data, order me a home security system so no one else could break into my house, and threaten to murder anyone who hurt me. I didn't want him morally gray. I wanted someone with a soul as black as night.
And she thinks to herself, like, I don't know if it's right now, but one of my favorite parts of this book is when she thinks to herself, like, I had been in such a rut. I was living in black and white, and Josh has made me see color again, essentially. And she says the fear and the kinky sex and everything part of it is because I need a reminder that I am alive. And Josh has made me feel more alive in the past 4 days than I have maybe in my entire life. Mm-hmm. So they're both in it to win it. So then after that, the titty fucking happens and all that happens. And then he does the mommy and daddy time video, which is incredible. And then he shows up at her house later on. And this is when he enters with that knife. Stabbing because she says, she has the worst night fucking ever. Okay, no. 2 things happen. Importantly, 2 things happen.
Very importantly.
Yes. When she's on her shift that night and she notices this dweeby white dude sitting with a fucked up face and nobody's helping him. And so she goes over to the rest of her nurse friends and she's like, hey man, what's happening with this guy? And they explain to her that he is a absolute definite predator. He got caught in the act of raping a woman and then he got beat to shit by her brother. And that's why he's here right now. But nobody wants to treat him because he's so fucking scary. And they have to wait for the one male nurse who's on shift right now. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, you know what? I take 8 defense classes and I'm a badass and we just need to get him out of here because then we can move on with our lives. She's like, I'm going to treat him. You can watch me the whole time. It'll be safe, whatever. So she goes over there and she's treating him really blankly, very professionally. Well, he's needling her.
Before she ever even gets into his room, there's a phone call for her.
Yes. Yeah, she's walking over.
And they're like, hey, it's for you, Allie. And she's like...
Tell him I'm fine.
Because she knew exactly who was on that line.
Yep. And so, then she goes in and she's very distant with him. He's trying to needle her. And he's like, is this about that misunderstanding? He's blaming the victim. He's saying that she should be lucky that a man of his pedigree was even interested in her, all this bullshit. Mm-hmm. And she finally snaps a tiny bit and no, that's not true. He goes to grab at her because she's trying to act really cool. And he's like, oh, wow, you are a little bit jumpy. It seems like I am affecting you.
And now he's getting turned on because that's what he's looking for. He's a terrible nightmare
he's a sadist,
rapist, murderer human being. Yeah. And so it's been a rough fucking night. She is about to leave the hospital.
No. Importantly, she looks at him dead in the face and she says, I would never be afraid of a shrimp dick bullshit person like you. And she insults him super hard. And then she gets up really close to him and then he starts wailing, being like, the nurse is threatening me and please get my lawyer, get this other person. She's like, oh my God, this fucker. Mm-hmm. So then later on, there's another emergency that comes in. And when she gets out to the bay, she's fixing to treat whoever is coming in. But this woman looks a lot like her mom. She has the same coloring as her mom.
And the same kind of injury.
And she's got this pole out of her shoulder. It's a metal rod of some sort that's sticking out of her shoulder. And it immediately takes her back to when she was in that accident with her mom, because instead of a rod in the shoulder, her mom got a fuck off pole in the heart. And there was no saving her. It just wasn't going to happen. And so she, for the first time maybe in her career, looks at another nurse and she's like, I can't treat this person. I can't. And she freaks out and she has to go collect herself. And then he notices that she's not the same for the rest of the night. She's really withdrawn. He doesn't know what's going on. He knows he missed something because he doesn't think that asshole would make her react like this.
Because she was fine. She was clearly not happy about Bradley Bloom's bullshit, but she wasn't affected like this, and now something is wrong. And as she's leaving the hospital, he texts her and he's like, either let me come get you or order an Uber because you are not okay to be driving right now. And she says, I'll order an Uber.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, but something is wrong.
Yeah. And so he says, I know I said I would give her space, but she needs me and I'm going to go to her.
Super duper importantly, before we launch into this next thing, she has taken the DNA that she has from his jacket, that hacker time, and the blood from sewing him up, and left it with the DNA lady at the hospital. She's going to do her a favor, and very importantly, in the background, that is also happening. And then
it's going to take like a week.
Run into this, yes.
Yeah, and in that scene, we've heard a little bit about a couple of guys that like have gotten jobs at the hospital, and she's like, I know for a fact this is not a good guy, but we don't really know why, and so that's happening in the background as well. She's trying to warn her lab friend off of like flirting with that dude. So then when she gets home, he's there and he ends up snuggling her and he's like, what's going on? Like, do you want to talk? Is there anything I can help with? And she ends up...
He's not there when she gets there. She's in the shower when he gets there, very importantly.
Oh, that's right.
Because he realized he doesn't have the voice modulator, and he's just wearing his balaclava. There was this scene where she makes a comment about his baklava, and he's like, ma'am,
it's
baklava is a delicious sweet treat. I will get you some. Get it right. And I was like... Yes, Josh, you are correct.
This is a teachable moment. Please teach me with baklava.
She's in the shower, and this fucking nitwit man decides, instead of cooking her something, to give her wine and tea. And as she is in the bedroom, getting out of after her shower and is like getting ready, he walks in and then makes a noise, and she turns around and screams, and he ends up burning himself because he's like, "Oh shit!"
Because he jumps too.
Oh, it was so funny. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, taking care of you. I thought you knew I was here. I thought you knew I was here. And she's like, in what world would I know that you were here?
Oh, it's so good. So then they end up snuggling. He's drawing her out. And she tells him all about how her mom died and how she feels like it's her fault because she was the one who was driving. And she, like, you know, mashed on the gas when she meant to hit the brake. And she was just a brand new driver. And he says, like, I understand survivor's guilt, but nothing about that is your fault. And she manages to, like, kind of internalize that. So then she's sitting there and she's like, Josh, I need you to get me out of my head. And I want to go dark. And he's like, oh, boy, I came over here to comfort her. And, like, this is switching gears in a way that I did not anticipate. And she's like, seriously, I need you to get like really dark. And he's like, are you sure? And she's like, yes, I need it. And so he picks her up, takes her to the bedroom, and he says, no safe words. Just tell me to stop and I'll stop anytime. And she's like, okay, good call. And then he's like, seriously though, you want the full Monty, if you will. And she's like, I do. And he's like, all right, post up on that bed and I'll be right back. He leaves the room, and this is when he enters the room like a goddamn serial killer with the knife up, coming at her with it, to the point that she like launches herself back on the bed against the wall, and then she sees him stab her mattress. And she's like, huh! Like, this is the mattress conversation. And then he's like, you come here right now and let me take care of you.
Wait, very importantly, he forgot his voice modulator. Oh, because they're still playing the game. Like, she knows that it's Josh. He knows that she knows who he is, but they're still playing this game, right? He realizes he left his voice modulator, and he's like, I could do a Batman voice. And he looks at Fred. He's like, Batman. He looks at Fred and he's like, how's that? Like, I can't even tell. I was laughing so hard though. It's like, so what a fucking Josh move.
Yeah. So he's still doing that. So he gets her up and she's like, I want to kiss you. And he says, like, yeah, I need to kiss you too. And then she like goes to lift his mask and put her face down by his. And he's like, oh, no. Not on your lips. And then he starts going south. So he goes down on her like a madman. He's fingering her. And then she's standing up with like one foot hooked over his shoulder as he's kneeling. And she's like trying to keep her balance. And then finally, oh my God, I also felt very seen in this moment because there's a time when he picks her up and she's like, I am not a small woman. I'm like 5'8" and very muscular. And I always see these people, these ladies get picked up by their partners and tossed around, and it's never happened to me. And so when Josh, his 6'4" beefcake body, picks me up, she's like, this is my moment.
You've had multiple between Soul to Keep and this. You're like, I'm
sturdy ladies unite.
Sturdy lady love.
Yes. So anyway, then he's like, okay, are you ready for this? Because you're gonna ride my knife.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I've stabbed it like as far into the mattress as it will possibly go. It's safe, and I'm gonna keep my hand in between you and the knife. Because he says
he has her blindfolded too.
Oh yeah, so he can take
and
off
her arms are tied behind her
right.
back.
Holy shit. Yeah, and he's like, oh my God. And he's like, I'm going to keep my hand in between you and the knife because he says, this pussy is mine now and I take care of what's mine.
And he also, she says, but your hands are hurt. And he says, I like the pain.
Yeah.
Hot.
Yep. So she rides that knife with him diddling her clit, and then he puts a digit in her rear, and she's like, "That's a new thing."
Her asshole.
Yeah, all at the same time, and
there's a lot going on.
A lot of sensations. Hot. Yeah, very overwhelming. It's exactly what she needed, and she comes like a freight train, obviously. And how does he get off? Does she blow him?
No, he just comes in his pants from going down on her while she's riding the knife, and he's fingering her asshole because it's so hot that he can't keep it.
Yeah.
And like because afterwards
like, you're perfect. You're perfect for me, Allie.
The whole thing is hot. And so then he's concerned because she's out of it afterwards.
Well, now she's sobbing. One release has triggered another. And so after she comes, she just immediately starts sobbing, and she's so embarrassed. She's like, this is the worst time for this to happen. And he says, no, it's the perfect time. Give me all of it. Oh.
And then afterwards, he's like holding on to her, and he's like, for a second there, I thought I had ruined everything. And and like his balaclava's back in place because he was not doing that fucking mask again for that long because it was criminal. And then he's like holding her and taking care of her, and it's so cute. And she's like, you couldn't ruin it if you tried. And then she turns his face to her and says, what we did just changed me. And he's like, you and me both. I've never seen a more beautiful sight than you speared on that handle. And that's when he points to his crotch. And she's like, did you? And he's like, come in my pants when your ass clenched around my finger and you came so hard that you squirted on me? Abso-fucking-lutely. That's how fucked up you've got me, baby. You don't even need to touch me to get you don't even need to touch me to get me off. And she says, if it's like this now, what's going to happen when I finally get you inside me? And he says the poles will probably realign and will be responsible for an extinction level event.
A dinosaur ruckus is what they'll be responsible for.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
So now it's the middle of the night, and like an alarm beeps on his phone.
No, what? Super importantly.
Oh, God.
Okay, a yowl sounded from my bedroom door, and Josh turns and looks and yells, Batman style, have you no respect for our alone time? Yowl. I'm not having this argument with you, young man, Josh called back. Yowl. Excuse you, sir. You better not talk to your mother like that when I'm around. I shook my head as he strode to the door and yanked it open. Fred was right on the other side, tail swishing as he gave one final almighty yowl. That's it, Josh said, scooping him up and carrying him out of sight. Ow, Jesus, be gentle, Fred. You're clawing through my shirt again. Yes, I know you're glad to see me. His voice grew quieter the farther away he walked. Yes, I missed you too, but screaming at people isn't the way to show that you care, and don't you dare point out my stalking. We're talking about your eccentricities right now, not Daddy's. And then he hollers back, and he's like, babe, you want eggs and bacon again? Oh, shit. No. She's like, I scrambled out of the room after him, trying to think of a kind way to ask him to please never cook for me again.
Yeah.
Which was very cute.
Yeah.
So then the proximity alarm goes off. So yeah,
Yes.
give us all the terrible, terrible, awful details.
Okay, so this alarm goes off, and it's a special alarm that he has set if somebody gets within like 6 inches of the cameras or something bananas. He's so good. And so he's getting up. Also, he thinks he's blind because his balaclava has moved. It's migrated a bit on his face, and so he can't see through the holes.
He's like, oh my God, I'm blind. And she's like, what's wrong?
Yeah, I can't see anything. So he gets up, and she is like, what are you doing? And he's like, I think somebody's trying to break into your house. And she's like, it's probably like a raccoon or something. And he says, raccoons usually don't know how to cover cameras. She's like, oh, fuck stick. So
horrifying.
Yeah. So he tells her, you stay here with the baby, you protect the baby, and I'm going to go. I'm going to take a gun. And I'm going to go see what's going on out here. And under no circumstances are you to come out. And she's like, what? That's unreasonable. And he's like, no, you'll distract me and then I'll lose it or whatever. Like, I need to know that you're safe or else I can't be the big strong man. And she's like, okay, fucking fine. And he goes out. He's still wearing his balaclava, obviously. And he hears the back door jiggling. And he's like, fuck, this is like the one last confirmation I needed that this is definitely somebody trying to break in. So he undoes the bolt because he doesn't want like this guy to like kick the door in or whatever. And so he undoes the bolt. This guy picks the lock. And when he opens the door, Josh just sort of goes on instinct and like punches him in the throat or in the head, knocks him right out, lays him out on the ground. Meanwhile, she's like, who is it? And he looks up and she's standing there with her gun pointed at the assailant. And he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, I had to make sure you were okay. I heard like a scuffle. And he's like, you broke your word. But she's like, take off his balaclava. I need to see who that is. He takes it off. And it is Bradley Bloom, that psychopathic rapist probable killer. And then Josh gets into Bradley's backpack, and it's a full-on kill kit. There's rope, there's tape, there's trash bags, there's bleach, there's chloroform, there's knives, there's all of the things, right? And so she's like, he was coming here to rape and murder me, wasn't he? And he's like, yeah, I can't think of another thing he was coming here to do with all of these supplies, you know?
So dark, but also like so fucking
so
funny.
Good. And so she's like, okay, we're killing him. We're murdering him. He needs to die. Meanwhile, he had already decided this like a couple of like when he called last night because he started hacking into his records and he figured out that like they haven't been able to pin anything on him, but he is a serial predator. And he was like, Bradley Bloom needs to die. I just didn't know how I was going to make that happen or if I could. And it's time. So she's like, she's going to shoot him. And he's like, whoa. If we're going to do anything, it has to be quiet. And she's like, grr. And then she like kicks him in the teeth. And he's like, well, hold on before we do any more than that. Like, I need to make sure his like cell phone isn't here and stuff. Like, we need to make sure that he didn't track all the way to this place.
Yeah. So turns out Bradley is good enough and smart enough, unfortunately, to know to turn off the GPS on his car.
Yep.
He left his phone at home. So, like, there's no record of him being here.
Right.
And so basically they decide that they're going to go drop him tied up on the doorstep of his most recent victim, like rape victim, but it's also probably attempted murder victim.
Oh, God, yeah.
And leave him on the doorstep for her family to take care of.
Yeah, basically they're gonna drop him off to the guy who already tried to beat the living fuck out of him. And like they're all military and stuff. So they're like, we're just gonna gift wrap him and like they can do what they want with him.
So they get there.
No. Mm-mm.
Oh.
So they hatch this plan. She gets like a hockey bag out or something like that.
Snowboarding bag?
That's the one. Josh puts the gag on him. Also they like tried to do like a snuggle, and when they're talking about like maybe killing him themselves or orchestrating his murder, she's like, I bet you're super hard right now. And he's like, I mean, you shouldn't talk. Like, I know if I reached into those panties, they would be soaking wet.
Dude, Melody.
And then Bradley in the background is like, and they realize they can't fuck. They have to go.
The scared horny and adrenaline horny that these two go through on the regular in this book, I'm just like, wow. You know, you don't need to be jealous, Sabrina. There's a lid out there for every pot. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm not going to feel bad about killing him. Like, he's scum of the earth. We'll be saving other people. Like, we're going to do this. So he puts the gag on him. They zip him up. He triggers another blackout in their neighborhood.
Okay.
And
hang on. Power
He's
grid.
constantly triggering blackouts.
Bing, boom, bong.
Yeah.
Power grid with Sabrina.
Okay.
So as somebody who has recently lived someplace where the power would randomly go off for a couple of seconds on the regular, like the kind of power outage that they're talking about here, where you don't even get a text message because it's just not even registered like that, they're still aware that it's happening. Yeah. There would definitely be some looking into on why in a major city, this one block keeps having 10-second power outages in the middle of the night. Yeah, they might send some technicians. Yeah. Although we find out that they may not once we find out who the family is. Yeah, so anyway, they're in the car. And he is kind of freaking out about this. And she's like, hey, man, what's going on with you? Are you okay? And he's like, I don't know why you're not more freaked out. And she basically is like, I'm the queen of moral relativism. I see death all the time. I don't give a shit. Like, this dude, I would not lose a second of sleep if we killed this man tonight and disappeared him, because he is a literal monster. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, okay, yeah. And he also has said things like, earlier he said, like, do not call the cops. And she's like, we're going to circle back to that no cops statement that you made, because that's like a little fishy. And he's like, yep, I promise to tell you everything. I just am not going to tell you right now. It's not the time. So very importantly, I know that we touched on it a little bit, where he has this whole time has been trying to be like, figure out like, man, am I my dad? Am I not my dad? Like, what kind of are these feelings that I'm having? This is very clearly something that he struggles with, right? Which, like, fair, okay, valid. But there's a lot of talk from her point of view and from his point of view, him specifically realizing that his internal reasons for things and what he's doing and stuff like that are very different from what his father's would have been. And from her point of view, she's seen a lot of dead-eyed monsters where, like, it is clear that there's nothing in there but just... It's a predator and that's it. Predatory, evil intent. And she's like, I have seen moments, but, like, ultimately, that's not Josh, because he's vivacious and you can see it in his eyes that he cares and all of these things. And so she trusts him. Granted, she doesn't know his history yet. Yeah, she doesn't come to those conclusions yet. That's after she finds out later. But she's like, at the very least, I trust Josh. Like, I know he's going to have like some crazy story that he's going to tell me. But at the end of the day, I trust him implicitly. Well, but there was a scene in the hospital with Bradley where she has this moment of, yeah. Bradley and Josh are not the same. Yes, he is not a predator, not like this. And so they get there. They're in the woods. They're about to get ready to take that body over, and then when that man over. Notably, the man. They're going to take that super living man over there. She opens up the trunk, and she opens the bag and she has a look of horror on her face. And he's like, what's wrong? And she turns to him. She turned towards me, sympathy written across her face. You put the duct tape over both his mouth and nose. He's dead.
Yeah.
I snapped my focus to Brad, and oh fuck, she was right. His eyes, blah, 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 and there's a description of all of these things. And immediately, he has to run away and vomit because he's so horrified that he killed a person.
Yeah. And he, very importantly, takes off his balaclava in order to vomit.
Yep.
And can you just read this section, please?
Allie squatted next to me, rubbing my back and making soothing noises as I retched. This is probably a bad time to gloat over the fact that I was right about your identity, isn't it? Reader, I puke laughed. And no, I do not recommend it. I just killed a man and my fucking my unhinged partner in crime was cracking jokes. Fuck me, I muttered. Kind of a weird time to offer, Allie said without missing a beat. Can I take a rain check until after we've disposed of the body and you get a chance to brush your teeth? And like, so she's getting him to laugh in one of the worst times of his entire life. It is so cute.
It's the best.
So they're in the car now, though, and
she's like, we have to do my plan B. And he's like, we haven't talked about a plan B at all. And she's like, yeah, did you happen to look any more into my family other than my mom and dad? He's like, no, there was like nothing to see. She's like, well, like, I don't talk about this really. Like, I do have family technically left. I just don't know them or want to know them or have anything to do with them. They are, in fact, in the mob. They're big mobster times. The whole family, it was her mom's brother, and the whole family basically disowned him because they fled Sicily because of mob action against them. And then when he joins the mob in the U.S., they're just like, Nico, how could you? But before he died, her dad told her that if she was ever in trouble to go to Nico, he would know what to do. Because he's like a crime scene cleaner.
Oh, it's so cute. No, specifically she says, he's a cleaner. Money laundering? I shook my head. We're like sanitizing crime scenes? Like, it's so cute. He's so sweet. He's like money?
Yeah.
Money laundering?
Is that like that impossible thing that accountants sometimes do?
Also very important. He does lean over the center console and pressed a kiss to my cheek. You are the best girlfriend a guy could ask for. What was that? Too soon, he said? I mean, I know we haven't had the official conversation yet, but we share a child, and I feel like disposing of a body is a boyfriend-girlfriend activity and not something you do with a casual hookup. I schooled my face. Are you saying that the couple who commits homicide together stays together? He snorted. Too wordy. I prefer the couple who slays together stays together. I choked out a laugh. Yep. Straight to hell. Both of us.
And then she's like, are you asking me to be your girlfriend? And he does. He asks her. She's like, yes, 1,000 times yes. Like it's very cute. Everything I've ever wanted.
And then hilariously, though, this is when they're talking about the crime scene, what her cousin does, because he's like, are you sure about this? Are you sure this is how you want to handle our current trunk situation?
Oh my God.
I glanced over at him. I guess that depends. How do you feel about slicing off Brad's fingerprints, ripping all the teeth from his mouth, hacking him into pieces, setting those pieces on fire, and then dumping them all into a river or a lake? Josh blanched. Like, I might be sick again. And she's like, yeah, we're gonna go
Me
with
too.
That.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that right now. So they take the body to Nico's house, and Nico is so excited because family is the most important thing, and he's been trying to reconcile with that branch of the family since forever. So he's like, my favorite niece is here, and she's like, cool it, there's a body in the trunk. And he's like, you brought a body to my house? And then it's Thundercats or go, okay? Every son has to come down. She ends up, like, driving away with Greg. Importantly, though, when Greg snaps at her to get her to hurry up, he goes full sociopath. Hot. For protection, he goes full sociopath, and he's like, you don't speak to her like that. And Greg, like, blanches, and he's like, I'm sorry. And he looks him like, he just, no change in this eye contact, just shark eyes. He goes, to her. And Greg is like, I am so sorry, but really, can we go? We have to go. Like, this is this is just logistics, okay? So anyway, they get split up, and he stays there to fill Nico in on what happened, and then she leaves with Greg to, like, take the body to a chop shop and do all the business, right? So then afterwards, they find out that there's a really good chance that although Bradley Bloom didn't have his phone and didn't have the GPS on his car, that he probably did a bunch of Googles on her on some of his devices. So, like, we need to get rid of that. And Junior, one of the mob boys, is like, yeah, we'll just go do a smash and grab. And he's like, no, that'll look really suspicious. Just take me. I'm a hacker. I'll take care of it.
Very importantly, Mel, here's your quote. He made me feel alive.
Yes.
He dragged me out of the gray world I'd been living in and taught me how to see colors again. In a sea of men who barely put in any effort, this man stood out for going above and beyond. He was the definition of if he wanted to, he would. Because he'd done for me what no one else ever had. He not only met, but exceeded my needs, both physically and emotionally. He kept me on my toes, never knowing what he would do next, and he did it all while making me blush and laugh all at the same time.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
If he wanted to, he would. Replace pronouns as necessary.
That's the one. Yep.
Like,
yep. So, look, it gets complicated from here, all right? They're split up. And a lot of things are happening at once. On his side, he's showing up to Bradley Bloom's house, and there's cops all over the place. Junior, at first, is like, I'm going to hold a gun to you, and you're going to explain to me why there are cops here. What?
Have you looked into the next book at all?
No.
It's
what
Junior.
Is? No.
It's Junior, and it's a second chance romance.
That's exciting.
With a sex worker.
Oh, I love it. Oh, my God. Yay. Oh, I can't wait to start it. Oh, my God. So, sorry. Anyway, he holds him to gunpoint, and, like, it takes a while for us to find out, but basically they were there to arrest Bradley Bloom. It was just, like, the worst timing in the whole wide world. So, anyway, on her side, she gets back to her house, and she's like, I'm really nervous about him being with my family. They're, like, squirrely and untrustworthy, and, like, he seems expendable, so I don't like that he's with them. And it's been radio fucking silence, and I don't know what to do. But then she gets home, and she gets a call. Well, she gets to his house because they have to do a deep clean on her whole house, a la, like, fumigation almost. So she brings the cat to his house with Tyler. And when she's in there...
She drops the cat off, she gets the cat in his bedroom, and then she gets a call from her DNA buddy over at the hospital. And her friend is like, hey, so the samples don't match, but I did a little bit of digging because you were being a little fucking weirdo about the whole thing.
Yep.
And
I was intrigued.
I did a little bit of digging, and the blood sample that you gave me matches 50% with the
Ken doll killer.
And she
and like
is horrified.
her heart comes out her butt. Okay, all of the blood drains down into her feet. She has to like swoon onto the bed. She's there are birds going around her head for a minute.
And you know what?
That's fair.
Because she starts putting together all these pieces. She's like, how did he know this? How did he know to do blank? How did he? And she's like, oh my God, he's a fucking psychopath like his father. Yeah. Holy shit. And then she's about to spiral. And then she's like, no.
Get a hold of yourself.
I know him. I'm going to go talk. If anyone knows anything, Tyler's going to know something.
Yeah.
And so she decides to give him the benefit of the doubt for now, because ultimately she still has time. If she does need to go, she can. And so she goes out and she starts talking. She goes to Tyler and she's like, I need to talk to you about Josh. And he's like, I really think that
that's not my place.
Yeah, you should wait and ask him questions. And she's like, no, because if I have to wait, I'm not asking the questions.
Well, and like, not for nothing, she's like, if he is a monster, I don't want him here to like manipulate my responses. But also, if he's not, like, I'm going to ask some really, really tough, awful questions. And if I can spare his feelings, I would like to. So, Tyler, you're going to explain to me what the fuck is going on in the bluntest terms possible, and then I'll move on from there.
Yeah.
And Tyler tells her everything, and he's like, yeah, he's got a couple of quirks, but he's the best guy in the whole wide world. And that psychologist did him dirty when he was a kid, and he's been medicated for no reason his whole life. And she's like, I mean, our relationship started because he stalked me. And Tyler's like, yeah, I told you the quirks, man. Okay. He's like, he needs information. He needs to know that the people he loves are safe. So like Tyler has a tracker on his car that that he knew Josh put on there the moment he took it off the lot. He's got his location data on.
Location on.
He's like, one time I didn't check in with him when I told him to during a hookup, and he showed up at the hookup's house like mid-bang and lectured me on why that was not okay. And he's like, if you don't mind that, then it's fine. And she's like, actually, I don't. And Tyler's like, yeah, me neither. You know, it is kind of nice though that you're gonna be able to take some of his crazy off of me.
And like all I could think when I was reading these, like this whole scene, I was like, wow, Josh and I are really only like 1 degree of separate. Like,
really,
it would be so I worry so much about the people I care about that it would be so easy to go down the rabbit hole of like, you need to add me to your life 360.
Right.
If you don't have your location on, and it like I can see you on Snapchat, we're gonna have some fucking problems. Like, where are you? Are you safe? What are you doing? Why didn't you check in when you said that you and it's honestly the only reason that it never happened is probably the undiagnosed ADHD my whole life.
That's fair.
You know,
yeah.
I couldn't keep up with myself, let alone somebody else. And now I'm you know, healthy and medicated, so I don't need to do that anymore. But like, there was a time in my life, there was a time in my life where like, boy, I was reading this book and I was like, wow. Oh, I was almost a little Joshy boy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So then, this is when she finds out he's a vegan because accidental cannibalism. Like, this is the whole download, right? And then Josh opens the door and comes in, and they run to each other. And he's like, I'm so glad you're safe. And she's like, I'm so glad you're safe. And then Tyler goes, hey, so she knows about your dad, and I'm going to go and let y'all talk that through. And she's also like, fucking Tyler. Fucking douchebag. God damn it.
So then it's sleepy nappy time, but they go open that door. And of course, Fred is like, hello!
Sleepy nappy time? What are you talking about, sleepy nappy time? It's none of those things.
Isn't it?
No! They have to do a whole talk, and no! He's like, oh, you know about my dad. We should probably chat that through. And she's like, yeah, I'm not worried about it. Yeah, I was worried about it, but I took a minute, and I'm not. Like, you are good. You're fundamentally good. And then she's like, and I get it. I get why you do the mask talk thing. And he's like, oh, really? Because I have no idea. Would you enlighten me?
This is when that conversation happens.
What?
Okay, continue. The meaning behind everything. I was jumping. Yeah. I thought that this was late. Continue. I was just, things are clicking.
Sure. So she's like, I mean, you have a lot of the same impulses as like your family or whatever, but you take those same impulses and you do it for good. Like your dad stalked and he killed and he did all those terrible things, and he did it for himself and he enjoyed the destruction. You, on the other hand, you use all of those impulses and all that darkness inside of you, and you create art that makes millions of people happy in different ways. You're like the light side of that coin while still sort of honoring your basest instincts, right? And he's like, wow, that is deep, and I never would have gotten there myself. And so he's like, so we're still like boyfriend, girlfriend? And she's like, yeah. And she says, if you want to get rid of me, you're going to have a stalker. So, like, I hope you were serious about being my boyfriend because it's kind of forever now. And he's like, yeah. So he picks her up and he's going to do her real good. And he takes her in and he opens that door, but then he trips on Fred and they go kersplat onto that bed.
Uh-huh.
And then they're like, okay, he's like, I'm going to go get Fred. You go get in the shower and I'm going to meet you there and then I'll fuck you real good. And she's like, yes.
Ooh, and then
that's what happens.
He walks into that shower, though, and very importantly, this is her first time seeing him naked.
Oh,
and
yeah, fully nude.
She's, like, drooling over him, and he's like, hell yeah, girl. And then he turns her around in the shower and, like, pins her up against the wall with her hands above her and, like, fucks her a little bit. And, like, it's hot, and then
she comes... And he's like, yeah. But after she comes, he turns her around and he picks her up. And she's like, whoa, why do you feel even bigger in this position? And he's like, this is the moment I was waiting for. After she came and she was like, she's all stretched and
wet.
Loose and relaxed. And he's like, I didn't give you all of it before. And then he gives her like the last inch of that giant monster cock.
That giant knife-handed
Holy Jesus.
Monster
I don't know.
cock.
I don't know. Once again, sometimes things can be too big. And this is when she has that cervical orgasm that, you know? And wow, it's great stuff.
Oh, and then when he, like, as he's coming, though, he, like, bites down on her shoulder, and she's like, oh my god, it's like he's claiming me.
Yeah.
I love that they are both so hot for each other in the same way. Yeah. And also, there's a really interesting note, and I've been thinking a lot about that and talking with this about, like, with friends lately, a lot of, like, there are people that you are sexually attracted to because you are kink compatible. Okay. And there are people that you are sexually attracted to for just regular, you know, sexy times without kink involved, and kink, you're just not really into it. But, like, that fine, like, that person that you are compatible with in all of the ways.
Where the Venn diagram comes together.
Yes. And, like, they have that, and it's so beautiful watching them realize that. They're like, oh, this isn't just kink between us. Like, this is not just sex. It is all of our needs can be fulfilled by this by each other. Right. And it's just and they're both obsessed with each other. And it's really, really cute.
It's super cute. So look, we have to do a caper to end this book. And it's very involved. It's a good caper.
Yeah.
But I don't have the energy to do the whole thing. Basically, they figure out that they have like a small window to go and hack all of Bradley Bloom's bullshit to get, you know, to wipe her off of his memory cards. And when they get there, she's like supposed to stay in the truck. They've got like a retired SEAL Team 6, you know, like shark-eyed ex-soldiers who take him in there, and boy, they do not enjoy his shenanigans at all.
This whole funny bit where in front of them, he makes a bet with Allie that he'll be able to make them laugh. And, like, the bit goes through the whole caper while they're over headsets, and everyone's like, keep the line open, dude. And he's like, sorry, I'm trying to make you giggle. I'm trying to win $20 from my girlfriend, dude.
Yeah. The most important thing is that when they walk in, they are hit with a smell that is distinctive. And the head guy is like, all right, you two peel off, go figure out what the fuck that smell is. We'll go upstairs. And they figure out that there are at least 2 bodies there underneath a mountain of cat litter. Well,
very importantly, the SEAL teams guy, the SEALs team guys immediately register, that's a decomposing body.
So does he.
But that's what I'm saying is, and then he also does, which comes up later, because they're like, how do you know what a decomposing body smells like?
Does everybody not know what that smells like?
I have no idea what a decomposing body smells like.
You've never been around, like, roadkill? Or
Not enough
like
that I would...
a mouse in the wall?
Not that I would clock it immediately, not like this.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I know exactly what that smell is immediately.
Well, and that's how they explain it away later, because somebody, like, Junior is prying about, like, why do you know what a decomposing body smells like? And she comes up on the fly. She's like, he found a dead deer real bad in the forest.
Yeah, maybe it's a country kid thing. Anyway, so when they find out that it's a legit body for sure, all the SEAL team boys are like, nope, abort mission, fuck this, we're not doing this, because they realize that now, like, the search is going to change, and it's going to be, like, very biological. And they're like, it doesn't matter what we're wearing, we're gonna leave a hair or something, we're getting the fuck out of here. And he's like, no, I have one job.
And then a car pulls up in the driveway. And they're really like...
No. Nope. They all leave. And he's like, and then she kicks Junior in the nuts and is like, I'm staying with my boyfriend, thank you so much, and races off into the night. And he's like, okay. And then the SEAL boys are like, we can intercept her. And he's like, nobody touches my woman. Like, he really immediately goes like shark eye craziness. And everybody's like...
Twice in an episode? What the fuck, Melody?
I didn't even really mean to that time.
I know you did it. And, like, it wasn't the same as the first one, but, like, I just wasn't prepared for it. I should have been prepared for it. I saw it coming. I saw the train.
You saw the wind up?
And then I got slapped in the face anyway. Okay? The other one was, like, being hit by the train. This one was, like... I was like, oh,
you felt the whoosh.
I'm in the in-between space. Everything is fine. I'm so tired. I know you are too. Continue.
Yeah. So anyway, he's like, nobody touches her. And they're like, okay, man, cool. Like, we see you're psychopath and we bow down. So then he's like, Allie, I need you to wait outside because if I don't wipe all of it, like, you're not wearing enough coverage. You're going to leave a hair. Something's going to happen. She's like, okay. So then they have this whole time when, yes, he's in the office and a car pulls up and she's like, OMG, DEFCON most extreme. And he's like, fuck stick. Yeah, there's a car. He realizes afterwards that it's the parents. They're there to, like, figure out what the hell is happening with Bradley Bloom. And he barricades the office door and he holds on to the knob while they get, like, keys and they're trying to break in. And he's sweating bullets.
Every time I read a book like this, or I read any book where people have to do capers...
Yeah.
And there
like
are
a good
usually
heist.
Murders involved or anything, a crime of some flavor is involved. Mm-hmm. It really just, and these are all fictional, right? But it just really hammers home. There's a
not for you.
It's a good thing that is not an interest of mine.
I don't have the countenance.
I would
don't have
get
the constitution.
So fucking fast.
Yeah.
People are like, I could get away with a murder. I'm like,
nope.
I couldn't.
Nope.
I also couldn't hide somebody else's murder. I couldn't hide the fact that I broke into somebody's house.
Sure.
Period. Like, this entire book, I was like, man, yeah, I'm definitely not either of these people. I would get... Yeah.
I crack immediately under pressure.
That too. Like, somebody's trying to break into the door, they would get that door open and I would just be standing next to the computer like... Hi!
I'm the house cleaner. Mm-hmm. I
heard you complaining about the trash not being taken out.
Oh, yes.
I'll go take care of that now.
I have been told there's a pet alligator on the premises, and that's why I'm here to help with that. So,
yep.
I'm gonna go find that reptile.
I was just at the computer for a quick Google on how to best take care of that alligator.
Bradley and I are in a group project. And so I just had to come here and make sure I had all the documentation for class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dumb.
I didn't know what tabs he had open.
How many tabs? Gotta look at them all, you know? There's
just a lot
trying
going
to
on.
get a good grade.
Anyway, I
need to get my GPA
now.
up.
Goodbye.
My name is Schmorkel. Monster fur. They're like, Schmorkel monster fur, huh? That's exactly right.
Yep. Schmirkle.
I will spell that for you tomorrow. Gotta go.
Yeah,
anyway.
My number is 867
5309.
309. Because I would have to do
would
the
sing
tune
it.
to remember the numbers.
Yes, I would end up singing it.
And they'd be like, what's the area code? 800.
Yes, this is exactly
and
me too.
You know what? You and I would be so
That's why we don't do
good
crimes.
at crime and
I don't have the constitution for it.
And I'm just not real great at lies on the fly.
I make too many loud noises when panicked. You know what I mean?
There's also that.
None of my reactions are quiet.
That door would start jiggling, and I'd be like, "Whoa! Yes, they're here!"
Yeah. Anyway, so he manages to get the fuck out of there after wiping all the bullshit. He climbs out a window and then falls through a pergola and definitely bruises some ribs. They go on like a frostbite run through the woods. It's like a whole thing. And then they manage to get away, thank goodness. But they're both like, we're pretty sure that mobster boys would have left Josh there with no problem whatsoever if the mood struck.
Well, and they did. Junior had everyone else leave except for one of the like lookout cars, and Junior's hanging out with the lookout car. And there's this very funny moment. I'm very excited about Junior's book because I think he's going to be a very entertaining main character, because there's a point over the headset where he's like, "Get in the trees! I don't give a fuck about your paint job! Get the fucking trees, dude!" Yes.
And, like, just the speed with which he goes from 0 to pulling a gun on you.
This man
very compelling.
Was made for the mob.
Yes. Or made by the mob. Who knows? Both. Anyway, so they also, like, break shit so that the guy, the police have a reason to enter the building and smell the bodies or whatever.
That's another
thing. Like, it's a whole thing.
All of these people
There's a lot of stuff happening.
So many steps ahead of other people. And I can't even stay on step with myself is the problem. That's really what this boils down to. This is why I'm incapable of any of this, is like, I can't even keep up with myself, let alone stay ahead of somebody else. No. You know? And that based on all of the things that I've read, fictional and otherwise, like fictional and non-fictional, one of the requirements is you're at least one step ahead of somebody for long enough to do some gnarly shit, you know? And I wish.
Yeah. I like to think that I would be a badass. And, like, I am very cool under pressure when a thing happens.
If I'm prepared.
So, after the caper, there's, like, a bunch of shit that happens. It all gets tied up in a bow. Bradley Bloom is taken care of. They're never going to be suspected for any murders. They now, like, owe the mob stuff. They, like, owe them favors. And she has been roped into going to family dinner once a month. So she's really pissed off about that. And then they are, like, going to be together forever. And the epilogue is them doing some primal chase play out in the woods.
It's great.
Yeah. It's great.
It's the best written description of planned primal play that I've read.
Sure. Yeah,
I've read some really good, like, opportunistic, it just happens. I mean, unsurprisingly, I read a lot of Alien, and that's just what happens in there.
Yeah.
But, like, this was active, planned, primal tank.
There were parameters, there were rules. It was great.
It was fun, it was hot.
Yeah. In fact, it's so good that she spontaneously proposes to him while he's still inside her. And then he's like, "What?" And then she's like, "Oh, God." And she gets up and looks over at him, and he's kneeling with a ring out because he was also going to propose to her. They're perfect for each other.
It was so cute. It was fun.
And we have to see them with more mob boys, right?
So in one of the reviews for the second book, it was stated, like, it was really nice seeing like
revisiting
Fred
them
and Josh and Allie, and I was like, I'm really excited about this.
Great. I just borrowed it on my hooplas. Yay!
Hell
okay.
Yeah.
Do we even have time for Lady Loves? I think this book is my Lady Love.
Make it quick. This book is your Lady Love?
I think this book is my Lady Love. And then getting book 2, listening to book 2 immediately is my Lady Love. I think
my Lady Love is washcloths. Knitting washcloths.
Knitting washcloths,
Man,
yeah.
finding just a project. I'll post some pictures on like Discord and stuff like that, and I might get around to, I don't know, we'll see. But regardless, I'm not going to be able to stop myself from talking about them a lot over the next several months because I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my Lady Love, just a little project you can take with you.
Yeah. Hey, you know what else is my Lady Love? Hey, listener, you're fucking great. If you've reviewed us recently anywhere, I say a big giant thank you to you because it always makes me the happiest, especially if you like write a little review along with the rating. And we have a Patreon. I don't know if you know that. We have a Patreon. You get like 4 or 5 bonus episodes a month and a bunch of other shit on there that is available to you. And a Discord.
Caught Up will definitely be on there.
Oh, Caught Up is going to be on there hard.
And then also beyond Caught Up being on there, I Was Not Here for a Soul to Keep.
Yes, and we're going to talk about Monster Dick.
But that we will be on Patreon with probably at some point the rest of the series over the next couple of months.
Yeah, at least book 2 and 3.
Yeah, and like soon for those two. The others, like, they're such long books. And like...
And there's only those 3 in audio.
You know what?
What?
Never mind.
Yeah, we don't have time for this. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Okay, hey, also go follow us on social media because we're doing that again. We're all the places at Heaving Bosoms. I'll tell you about it in the outro. Just like, come chat with us.
Yeah,
okay.
Come hang out.
I love you. Keep being a badass and
love yourself as much as you love keeping it short and quick at the end. Love you, bye!
Love yourself as much as you love mommy and daddy time. Mommy and daddy time.
Fucking rude. I'm leaving. Good. Bye.
Bye. Oh, ridiculous. Thank you for listening. Next week, we'll be back with a quickie style episode. It's quickie style because one of us is telling the other one about the book. But it's not quickie style because I do manage to recap Drama by A.J. Truman for 2 whole hours. Look, it's a talent, and that's all there is to it. I have to comfort myself somehow. Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. That one small action is a huge way to help the show. If you want to get in touch with us for advertising inquiries or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosomspodcast@gmail.com. If you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. See you next week.